Going hard from the start, they know.
All right, so Obe Amaya.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
One of Maryland's finest right now.
Up and coming.
And making noise.
Trying to.
Yeah, so I was listening to your latest, I guess you said you wasn't going to call it a mixtape. It's more like a tape, a small introduction of what they got to expect.
Yes, sir. EP. Coming of age. Yep.
Tell us about that.
Hey, that's a long time coming. That's like probably like 10 years in the works. You know, fortunately enough, I got to meet my engineer, Mad Max, shout outs. He helped me put that thing together. Like I said, it was a long time coming, a lot of songs, a lot of verses that I just kind of put together, found the right production and just put it together, man, and just made it happen. So, like I said, that was only a handful of songs, but for sure, like something that took a long time to put together.
And there was no features on that joint. Was that by accident, or is that how you planned that one?
Hey, that's just the way I did it, man. Honestly, it was me just kind of like venturing off into this business venture in a sense, you know, and just kind of just tackling it, you feel me, and just trying to figure out as I went along. You know, I didn't want to reach out to anybody because, again, I was still getting my feet wet and still trying to, like, you know, experiment with a lot of things, and it just happened organically that way.
Yeah. And anybody that's heard this mixtape, even though there's no features on it, is a whole different type of sounds. There was no feature needed, like you doing the hooks, your lyrical, and the whole nine. Like, how does that come about? Like, how do you make a whole song seem like there's 3-4 different people in it, but it's just one?
That's a good way to put it. I gotta feel the music first, you know. I gotta find the right beat. Sometimes it takes me hours to find the right instrumental to get on, or even days. You know, I could find an instrumental and not like it, and then like it, you feel me? So definitely gotta feel the music first, feel the vibe, come up with the hook, you know, some type of melody. For me, that's the hardest part. And then from there, I tackle the verses, you feel me? I kind of like treat the chorus, the hook, like a thesis, I guess, in a sense, and then just kind of build off that and just construct my music like that.
Poppy, you copy, I'm chopping the metaphor. In it for 5-6 figures. Guess Esau really did this very well, cause I'm selling agua to the bottom of the well. Okay, show and tell, broke boy with Chanel. Gotta keep it real, you too, what's the nail? Keep the peace inside the booth, I'm nice.
This is the first time I sat down with you, and I feel like when people start hearing your sound, and when they start hearing your music, it opens up their ears and they're going to keep coming for more. So I want to get more of the story. That way, once they hear all this music, they get to know the artist. Who's Obe Amaya?
So I grew up in Maryland. I went to Wheaton High School. You know, started making music very young. You know, I'm the only son of my father. I'm the oldest of my mother. I grew up with my older sister, you know, right there in Aspen Hill, Maryland. You know, I just first generation Latino. My parents are from El Salvador. My father from Usulután, my mom from San Miguel. You know, and they landed here. Here I am.
And like when I spoke to you on the phone, I was telling you that it was a little bit difficult doing some background because usually when I Google somebody's name, I can find a mugshot or something, but I really couldn't find much. So not music wise, I could find it good, but as far as like more than the artist. So, and you were telling me that you kind of stayed in the soccer and stayed on your own lane. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I mean, I've been playing soccer since I was 5 years old, man. That was like my first love, my first passion. So really the street life, I really indulged too much in that. You know, I obviously had uncles that were heavy into gang life, you know, homies that were in the streets. But, you know, honestly, man, I just stuck to what I knew. You know, soccer, you know, my father put me on the team very young. And from there, I just kind of like, you know, fell in love with the sport, you know. My first like fantasy was to become a DC United player. That was like my biggest goal in life. But obviously, you know, that didn't happen. You know, I got into music and, you know, just this is the route I chose.
And you were telling me that the whole soccer discipline and showing up to practices and game day, all that kind of prepped you. And you get that same feeling now, like when you were in practice and when you had the game day doing music.
Yeah, I apply that every day. You know, I got my own studio in the crib. You know, I try to do something every day. If it's write a whole 16 or a hook or something like that, you feel me? I try to really work at it every day. so that I can get better. I always say, you know, if you're not working right now, there's somebody right now that's better than you somewhere else. You feel me? So I always try to, again, apply that, going to practice every day to being in the studio every day and getting some work in, man. Because I feel like where I want to be it takes a hella lot of discipline, patience, and hard work. So I feel like, again, I got to follow that same routine.
And tell me, where is it that you want to be? Because if the people don't know, you quit your job for this.
Yeah, I mean, I had a whole career. I had a 9 to 5 that took like 9-10 hours of my day, 5 days a week. And I really had to make a choice and say, you know what, if I'm going to pursue music, I'm going to have to open up my schedule and apply myself to that if I want to see some progress. Because at that time, obviously, my job was my life. You feel me? I couldn't really work as much on the music due to that. So yeah, I had a conscious decision to make. One day I hit up my boy that was at this restaurant. I was like, man, can you get me a job like tomorrow? Like I'm ready to quit this job. He's like, yeah, you know, whenever you're ready, just come out here. So, you know, went to the interview, got the job, no experience in that. In this, you know, in the serving, you know, in the restaurant industry. And I just took that leap of faith, man, to invest in myself, you know, take a pay cut. You feel me? And just apply myself to the craft, because I said, hey, you know what I'm saying? You're 24, 23 years old. If you don't apply yourself now, you're not going to go anywhere. So I had to make that decision early.
And I wanted to talk to you about that, but about the serving industry, but talking about doing what you love and chasing your passion. You were telling me that one time you had a conversation with a friend.
Mm-hmm.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but you told him that your passion feels like your first love. And is that, when did you find out that music feel like that first time I liked the...
Man, I think I was like 18 years old. It was crazy because it was actually at the house. I was just, you know, vibing out, and I was just like, man, I love doing this. I love writing. I've always had like an affinity, you know, to write, you know, English class. Obviously I didn't have good grades. You hear it in my music. But I always had a thing for writing. So I applied that to the music, and I realized that they go hand in hand, obviously, and I like doing it, you know, and you get them butterflies in your stomach, you know, you're like, oh, I love doing this. You know, I think I could do this. You know, you got to have that naive, you know, belief in yourself that, you know what, maybe I can do this, you know, and just, that's when I realized it. I was like 18, and I was like, you know what, I'm just going to go ahead and do this. And, you know, like I have a lyric where I was like, they say your passion feel like your first crush. Again, that first crush, you don't forget it. You know what I mean? You got that adrenaline rush. You got that like euphoric, like, you know what I'm saying, happiness. And that's kind of like my, you know, my comparison to finding your passion.
Yeah, because in the space we play in, like the creator space, you have to be like your biggest cheerleader and like your biggest,
for sure.
You know, otherwise it's not, the ride isn't fun. Because I remember we were talking about how, I guess in the industry you work in, they call it a verbal tip, where we don't get paid for this. You know what I'm saying? We spend multiple hours in the studio, multiple hours creating, to the point that you have to reorganize your room, and no one's paying you for this. And when somebody says, yo, that song was dope, or that song, you know, I was listening to that and it moved me, it motivated me, that's the only payment we get.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And talking about that, I think you said that's how you met MA, when you talked to, was it Sway?
Yeah, shout out Sway, bro. That's the homie. Tell
us that story. How did you meet him? And the reason I say that is because you're one of the few DMV artists who will publicly, if at all, like some don't even do it privately, but give props to the people that did it before you, whether they made it big or not. But if they influenced you somehow, some way.
Absolutely. Like I said, shout out Sway. He's a homie. I met him at a video shoot for my homie Stunner. Shout out Stunner Lorenzana. You know, I saw him there. I was like, you know, I just went up to him. I was like, bro, like, I rock with your music. Like, I've been following you for a minute. You know, some real conversation, just, you know, giving him his props. And, you know, he invited me out to the studio he was working at the time, which was Luminary Sounds, where Marvin, my engineer, was working out of. And, you know, I went out there, met him, you know, caught a vibe. And from there, it was just history. You know, we linked up. And, you know, again, going back to what what you're saying is, yeah, you got to give your props. You know, there's always somebody that influences you. You know what I'm saying? You don't motivate yourself all the time. Sometimes there's somebody older than you, or it can be younger than you, doing something that you also like to do, and you know they'll definitely have some type of influence on your on your path, and you got to just, you know, give them their props, because you know they were there before you. So,
and I was telling you that I think one, that might be how you are, but second, the job that you do now as your side job, or your part-time job, you have to have a certain level of patience.
Absolutely.
You know, to be in the restaurant business. And I think that preps you, like soccer did. I think that preps you to deal with the industry. You have to have a certain level of patience. How do you think that goes hand in hand?
Definitely. Character builder, man, for sure. Patience is a skill. You know, the cliche goes that it's a virtue, but I think it's definitely a skill that you have to acquire. You have to practice it. You have to always apply it every day to everything from you getting up, making your bed, to brushing your teeth. Obviously, that's discipline, but like also the patience to do that every single day. But yeah, dealing with customers, sometimes you can't judge a book by its cover. Patience, man. Patience is something, like I said, you have to practice, because it transfers everything: your relationships, your craft, your job. You know, sometimes we have to cut up a song 7 times, and you have 7 different outcomes, you know, seven different reasons why you don't like the song. So definitely staying patient and understanding that this is a long grind. It's a marathon, you know, like Nipsey said. And sometimes you have to really just put your head down and work. But also that's something that you have to acquire with time and practice.
And you practice that every day when you go to work, huh? I feel like in your music, you reference a lot of books at times, or some quotes, like you read a lot. What is it? What's one of your books that you're reading right now?
It's funny because I don't think I've finished the book yet. I always read certain parts of a book and get what I need out of it and just kind of put it to the side. Right now I'm reading The Power of Positive Thinking, which is actually a great book. I've only read probably like 15 pages of it, but I've gotten so much. What I do is kind of like read a certain like portion of it, sit on it for a few days, maybe a week or two, and then revisit the book and kind of even read it again to learn something else about myself. You know, maybe whatever they were talking about, I applied it in some way. And yeah, man, I like to dabble in a little reading. I didn't like to in high school, but definitely getting into it now.
It's crazy how that works, huh?
Yeah, for sure.
And I feel like reading itself, for at least our generation, or in the Hispanic community, I feel like that's like a lost art, because nobody really tells us that. Like you said, you just happen to pick it up one time. And another thing that's a lost art at the moment in hip hop, I feel like, is the lyrical and the type of music that you do. What keeps you from not just following the trend? I feel like in Maryland, DC, and Virginia, 90% of the rappers want to sound like Atlanta or want to sound like somebody else.
Well, for me personally, I remember taking like a solid year of like not listening to nobody. Like, turn off the radio. I stopped listening to like what was trending on YouTube, only because I wanted to find my sound. You know, I would just make music every day and like listen to my voice over and over again. But I would also listen to a lot of 90s rap, because that's what I was influenced by. You know, I'm a 90s baby, so that's in my blood, you know. I grew up on, when I was in high school, you know, Lil Wayne was popping heavy with the mixtapes. Obviously, you know, Cash Money was the thing. You know, Drake was coming out. But me, man, I had Wu-Tang in my headphones. I had Tribe Called Quest in my headphones. I had Nas in my headphones. And my homies would be like, yo, why are you listening to that? Like, you know, how you catching your swag to that? Like, me, man, it's what I like. You know, that's my influences. And, you know, as far as like other rappers, I can't speak on them. I mean, I know I have my influences and I apply them in my music. So if, you know, whatever their influences are, they'll definitely apply it in their music, you know, to each his own. You know, there's definitely a lot of artists locally that I rock to, you know. So like I said, man, everybody has their influences, and they you know, they do what they do.
Can you name us your top 5 locally?
The top 5? I mean, I haven't listened to all of them, so I can't really like give you a top 5. But definitely like Big Nintendo, the homie, you know, doing his thing. You know, my boy Isai for sure. My boy Fito. You know, the whole A4A crew. You feel me? My boy Track. You know, we out here. You know, we working.
Yeah, Maryland got a buzz. Like people don't understand. Like there's a huge Hispanic like artist scene out there. I think bigger than the one that we have here in Virginia, to be honest with you, or at least I don't know if you guys are maybe network a little bit more, but you guys got it's a good amount of y'all, and you can see it on the social media.
Yeah.
With you knowing all these artists, is it that I'm not hip, or you don't really do features?
No, I do features. I do features. Like me, it's just my personality. Like I'm to myself. I hang out with my lady, my 3 dogs, you know, a few homies. And you know what I'm saying? Like I just keep to myself, and it's not because I don't fuck with nobody. It's just because that's just me. You feel me? If like homies like, you know, let's get on this track, you know, by all means, you know what I'm saying? Like I do it. You know, I got a track with my boy Isai coming out. You know what I'm saying? I got, you know, tracks with Fito. You feel me? I have a song with Stunner. I got a song with Sway. You know, we out here. I'm working. For sure. Nice.
And your beat selection, man. How is it that you go about picking your beats? Because I feel like they have a lot of good quality, but it doesn't, like the same way you create your songs. The beats don't feel like they got rushed. The beats don't feel like they shortcut anything. Like how do you go about picking your beat?
I mean, I gotta, like I said, I feel the vibe first. Definitely gotta feel it. I'm heavy on YouTube. You know, I'm still looking for, you know, a set producer right now. So again, it's just me going through the rabbit hole, just looking for beats, you know, seeing what I like. You know, there's always like Kendrick, Cole type beats that you can, you know, search, kind of narrow the results or whatever. But yeah, man, I gotta feel the music first. I gotta feel like I can create some type of melody, some type of like story behind it. Like, you know, it has to resonate with me for sure. So again, I'm influenced by 90s hip hop, so definitely if it has that boom bap, like I love that. That's my shit.
Tell me what's your favorite, like from the time you started doing music till now, like what's one of your favorite memories music wise?
Creating HOS. It's a song I have on YouTube. It was the first song that I completely did not write. Like that was me in my room creating these bars in my head and just like constructing this song literally off inspiration. And I remember saying like, okay, I can do this. Like, you know, because heavy, like Biggie, Jay, Lil Wayne, definitely 3 top artists that influenced me heavy, and they don't write their lyrics. So definitely that was when I was like, damn, like, okay, I can sit here and not write anything and make something dope. And that was when I realized, I was like, okay, I can do this. I'm nice. Like, yeah, that's definitely a memory. And that and going a cappella at the fire station, man, that was, you know, shout out DJ Pooty. My set got messed up, you know, and I couldn't perform, but I was like, you know what, fuck this, I'm about to go a cappella, and I spent like 2 songs, you know, like 2 songs a cappella. And I was just like, you know what, my song is not working right now, I'm just gonna have to go off top, and I just, that shit it's crazy. It's crazy.
What was the response like?
People were rocking with it. You know, people respected me because I could have just been like, dog, like my set's messed up, I'm gonna have to walk off the stage. But I was like, you know what, now I gotta go hard. This is what I came to do, and I did it.
You were saying that the first time you started doing music was, I guess you were chilling with some of your boys that do, I guess they did Spanish music?
Yeah, at the time.
And why didn't you go that route? What made you go the English route? And but you be adding a little bit of Spanish for sure.
For sure.
But for the most part though.
Well, at that time, Arcángel and De La Ghetto were coming out. Man, I gotta tell you, when I first time I heard De La Ghetto, I was like, this is fire. Like when he was mixing up like the English and the Spanish, but also getting on like fabulous beats and stuff like that. Man, I was like, I want to do that. So I started dabbling into the Spanglish, but mostly like, it was more like 50-50, more like, you know, Spanish and English, but definitely only on reggaeton beats, you know, and that's because that's what they were doing at the time, my homies. But then I was like, you know what, if I'm going to do this seriously, I got to take the English route because English is the language where I'm more fluent. my vocabulary is more extensive, and I mean, I can read and write and speak Spanish, but I'm just a little bit more, English is my right hand, and the left hand is my Spanish for sure. So yeah, I do sprinkle a little Spanish in my music because, again, my influences, De La Ghetto did that a lot. But also it's just me, like I speak Spanish like on a daily basis, I'll give you a little Salvadoran accent, slang, all that, man. That's me, you feel me? So, I do that. Mm-hmm.
And that's real respectable at this moment, because a lot of the times most people they don't want to show those colors because they think that might close some doors. And in the beginning it may, but keeping it real goes a long way.
Nah, I feel like the glass is half full for me, man. Like, there's a market for everything, and you got to keep that mindset. If you think that'll close doors, those doors are already shut, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? There's people that rock with me heavy, and that's, like you said, just keeping it a buck, and just kind of like doing what you do and doing it your way, and telling your story. People going to relate. People are going to relate, and no, I ain't worried about it, man. I know people like will definitely find my music very interesting, very entertaining, and that's just gonna come with time, for sure.
Talking about telling a story, I know that in one of your videos you definitely had a story to tell where you were suited up in DC and there was a kid in a cage.
Yeah.
Some people ignore what's going on, and some people attack it full force, and they use their voice to bring awareness.
Well, that is crazy because that song was inspired by a conversation I had with somebody that was very privileged growing up. And so it was a discussion that, it was a discussion mostly. It didn't really turn into an argument of, I think she had asked me, why do music and why aren't you in school? Why aren't you applying yourself to something that you'll see more gain, more profit from? And I told her, we all have different ambitions. We all have different opportunities and dreams and, and passions. And this is mine. This is my passion. And, I do what I do because I love what I do, and my background, we come from, a place where, we were pretty much pushed out. There's a civil war. There was good and bad going on, and they had to find different opportunities somewhere else. And so there's a lot of people that to this day can't even make it to the States for X reason. So what I was trying to do with that song was pretty much say, like, this is me. I'm in a suit. I'm at the Lincoln Memorial, a symbol of freedom. And I'm just trying to, like, follow my passion, my dream right here in this soil, this United States, but also shed light to my roots. And that we're also trying to do the same thing, because there's people that die on their journey to the United States, and there's people that can never come over here because of financial means or what have you. So again, we're just a fighting people. When we got conquered, we definitely fought. You feel me? Mayans, Aztecs, you know what I'm saying? Like Pipi, Lenca, like all them tribes from Central America, they had to like really fight, and that's what we do every day. We over here, but we also trying to like make a buck, you know what I'm saying? And, make that money,
And being like the kid of Salvadoran immigrants, you saw that fight every day.
Absolutely.
Every day. How does that, two things, like how does that influence you? And how was that conversation when you dropped out of college with your parents?
Well, my father named me Elvis. My government name is Elvis Serpas. Elvis Obed Serpas. So it's in my, it was given to me since before, like, I came out the womb, man. Like, my father knew what he was getting himself into by naming me Elvis. Like, you can't give your son such a ambitious name and not expect him to pursue music. My mother's like my biggest fan, you know what I'm saying? So it's all good, man. It at first it was a little rough, obviously, because, my sister's a registered nurse and she was the smart one in school, of course. And, I just, I chose a different route, man, because this is what I do.
And it's so, I guess it was a great sign knowing that he supported you, because you were telling me that he was pretty much one of the reasons why today singing comes a little easier. Tell us how he influenced you and how he kind of guided you in this path way before you chose it.
Yeah, man, my father, man, because of him, I'm who I am. You know, he was always very patient with me, disciplined, of course. Never drank around me. He always pushed me to, like, you know, play soccer, but he always tried to, like, influence me to sing. You know, he'd always ask me, let me hear your voice. That was always a common, you know, thing he'd always say to me in the truck. You know, he had a little, like, Ford 350, you know, because he did construction or whatever. And he'd always tell me, let me hear your voice. And I'd sing over, like, Jose Jose, Luis Miguel, Ricardo Arjona, like, these cats. And, you know, eventually, you know, I didn't think it was cool. I was like, nah, I want to play soccer, you know what I'm saying? Because I thought singing was, like, lame. I didn't think it was a cool thing to do, you know? And, but that stuck. Obviously, that stuck. You know, I started, like, experimenting with, like, different music, you know, reggaeton at that time, like, Looney Tunes was coming out, Eminem, you know, my sister was, like, the biggest Eminem fan in the world. So, obviously, Marshall Mathers LP was definitely bumping in my room at that age. So again, it started from, like, not liking music to really liking music, and that all came through these CDs that my sister would put me onto. My cousin Alex, man, he put me onto Tego Calderon when that came out. I remember, like, that vividly, being in his room, and he's like, listen to this, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, it's crazy. Yeah, it's definitely, like, it happened in stages, for sure.
It's crazy how like all these little things happen, and then all the puzzle pieces fall into place, and you don't even know, like, when it's happening, you don't know what's going on. You just enjoy it. You got
life, yeah. And
then now everything is full circle. You know, so the whole family, everyone supports what you do.
Yeah, for sure. I got aunts quoting my lines at baby showers and stuff like that. Funny, but, like, you know what I'm saying? They know what I do. So yeah. I don't try to hide who I am, you know, because you are who you are. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because it's not like you out here doing something bad, but when they don't understand it or they don't see it, it's almost like a waste of time. Like, some people see it like it's a waste of time.
Yeah.
And then you end up having conversations with your family or people that's supposed to support you, like you did with that one girl, who they were saying, like, why don't you choose a better career, or why are you wasting it? So it's hard to get them on your side, you know?
Oh, yeah. I mean, you don't got to convince everybody. You know, there's going to be people that don't like you for no apparent reason, and that's just how it is. You know, you just got to keep moving, brush things off, and do what you do. Because at the end of the day, when you lay down and go to sleep, you got to be content with yourself. You got to be happy with what you do, what you did for the day. You know what I'm saying? Like, nothing else matters, man. Just, you know, obviously your relationship with God, your family, and whatever it is you do to get money. That's it.
Nah, but thank you for giving me the opportunity.
Oh, thank you, bro. Appreciate it.
No doubt. Because, like I was telling you, I feel like your sound, as soon as somebody hears it, they going to stick around. Like, you probably going to have more people coming back. So I was trying to get this interview early. I was trying to get the exclusive, you know, because one, you're going to get more busy. Two, you probably going to charge for interviews.
Nah, bro.
You know? So I was trying to get it early. I enjoy being part of the story before there's a full story to tell.
Okay.
You know, so I really appreciate the opportunity, and you know, I hope we sit down again.
Absolutely, bro. Like, we can always collab with stuff, bro. Like, I'm always open if I, you know, feel a good vibe. You know what I'm saying? You know, pro bono work. I do the same. You know what I'm saying? Like, we can work, bro.
Yeah. Because I know 6 months down the line or a year down the line, I'm pretty sure it's going to be a whole lot more to talk about, and
that's the plan.
Yeah, I see the progress. And like you said, you already found your engineer, and that's like the hardest thing after that. You know, the sky's the limit now. You know what I mean? So
yeah, bro.
Yeah, and we at MA Studios right now. So
yeah, shout outs MA, my guy.
Know it. All right, it's a wrap.
All right, appreciate it.
Going hard from the start, they know.